Hi, I'm Steve Strobridge from MOA's Government Relations Department. This week we've seen media reports. There have been all kinds of rumors flying about a new DoD report or proposal to radically change the military retirement system. We've been getting enough questions from our members that we felt like we needed to do this report to get out some information about what's on the table and how it might affect military people. First thing to realize is there's more than one proposal out there. The one in the news this week would basically scrap the current retirement system, convert the military completely to a civilian-style 401k plan. You wouldn't get any immediate retired pay unless you're 100% disabled. The vast majority of people wouldn't draw any money out of their 401k plan until age 60 or 65. DoD would have some kind of matching authority that might depend on whether you're at a hardship tour, whether you're in a combat assignment, those kinds of things. Now, it's very difficult to talk about what that means for today's people or future people compared to the current system. We don't know what the stock market's going to do over the next 20 or 30 years. We don't know how many people are going to be in combat assignments, those kinds of things. So it's very tough. The one thing we do know is with no immediate retired pay for people who serve 20 or 30 years, this would only cost DoD less than half of what the current system costs. So you know it's not a great deal for career service people. Now there's another plan out there that was proposed by another panel a little more than a year ago called the Quadrennial Review of Military Compensation that we think might actually get a little bit more traction. It's not quite as draconian as this plan, but we think it's still bad enough in its own right. We do have some more details on that, so we can provide a chart. So let's take a look at what this proposal would do. This chart shows the current system for an E7 with 20 years of service. Today he gets about $24,000 in retired pay, and that's adjusted by inflation each year. For this chart, we've estimated an adjustment of about 3% a year. That's what's shown in red. What's shown in blue shows the proposed plan, which assumes that this person wouldn't be eligible for full retired pay until age 57 and would penalize them 5% a year for every year they leave before that. That person is leaving at age 40, that's what the chart assumes, which is 17 years before age 57. That means their retired pay would be reduced 85%, and that's not a typo. They would get $3,600 a year in retired pay immediately. At age 60, they'd start being able to draw out of their 401k style plan that they would have contributed to, that under this plan the government would have contributed to. Problem is there's no guaranteed contributions. We don't know what it would be. We've put a notional amount of around $12,000 a year in there just to show the kind of bump that person would get at age 60 when they could first draw that out. Under this proposal, the individuals would be envisioned to be eligible for some modest retention bonuses at 12 years of service and at 18 years of service, and then there would be a retirement bonus of about 1 month of basic pay for every year of service they had. At 20 years, that would be 20 months of basic pay. That's taxable. Those bonuses are supposed to substitute for everything. That's the difference between the red and blue lines. In essence, this individual will lose about $1.6 million over their lifetime. A big, big deal. Now, this is a great deal if you're a general or flag officer, somebody who's allowed to stay in service until age 57. It also envisions that it would vest retired pay for people who leave before 20, so it's a good deal for people who leave. Guess who's paying the bill for that? It's the people, the rest of the career force, who take it in the shorts. MOA thinks that's a huge problem. We don't believe that's the right thing to do. It's not the way to treat people who bear the brunt of all current and future wars. Now, what about the current force? Would they be protected from this kind of thing? Most of the people who are advocating this also would propose grandfathering the current force and applying this only to future entrants. Some have proposed other things. One option would say, we're going to convert the current force on day one. You will have earned everything you have, the retired pay you've earned to date, but from today forward, all you get is what's deposited in the thrift savings plan. There was another proposal that would have grandfathered only people with 15 years of service. All this is still up in the air, despite all the good intentions that are being stated. Now, let's assume the current force is grandfathered. It only applies to new entrants. We've been there before. Back in 1986, Congress actually passed a plan that reduced 20-year retirement value much less severely than this. At the time, Secretary Weinberger warned Congress that's going to hurt retention and readiness. 12 years later, when the Joint Chiefs of Staff confirmed that's what was happening, Congress had to repeal it. So we've been down this road before. It's proven that it's a non-starter, and this would be even worse. It's interesting that back then in the 80s, then Secretary Weinberger was talking about the adverse effects on retention. You're not hearing about that today. You're only hearing about how much money that we need to save, and this is just one more budget savings drill. Well, let me tell you, this is not just a savings drill. This is a huge amount of money being taken out of the pockets of the people who sacrificed the most for their country. This is a huge risk to future retention and readiness. We should have learned that lesson. We shouldn't have to learn it again. Now, if you believe, like MOA believes, this is a bad idea, what can you do to help? Well, there's three things. Number one, you can email your legislators right now. You can see the URL there. All you got to do is go to that URL, plug in your zip code, and you can send a MOA suggested message to your legislators. Number two, sign up for MOA's weekly legislative update, and all you got to do is email our member service center, and they'll hook you up with that. We can't alert you when you need to write your legislators. We can't alert you when there's a problem that needs your action if we can't reach you. Finally, if you're an officer, we need you to join MOA. Everybody else, we need you to join Voices for America's Troops, which is MOA's subsidiary. MOA intends to be the most effective dog in this fight. And it is a hugely important fight for military people and for America. We're going to have to be the biggest dog we can be to be effective, and we can't be that without your membership.